Okay, so in this video, we're going to go through about 9 two-step equations. So let's look at the first one. So the first one, what we want to look at is I've got minus 7 here. So my inverse operation, so my opposite operation that is to do plus 7. Now let's actually write that out here. I'm going to go 9x and I'm going to write minus 7. Let's get a red there. I'm going to go, oops, need this one, to go minus 7 and then I'm going to go plus 7, plus 7. And what we get is that if I do that, that becomes 0. So I've got 9x equals, that becomes 0. And now I'm going to do the extra step, but basically x is going to be equal to 0 because I go x equals 0, oops, 0 divided by 9 equals 0. So x will equal 0 in this case. Let's look at the next one. So the next one is, in this, it's 2 steps. So first step is to remove this divide by 6, and then is to get rid of this part here. All right, so let's take that step by step. So this is divide by 6. So my inverse operation is to multiply by 6. So let's actually write that out. I'm going to go minus 1. I'm going to leave a bit of space because I'm going to write something there. 5 plus x over 6. So divide by 6 there. Now, as I said above, I need to multiply that by 6. So that's the inverse operation to divide by 6. So that cancels that out. Then I'm going to multiply that by 6 there. And what I get is minus 1 times 6 is minus 6 equals 5 plus x. Now, what we've got next is I've got 5 here. This is the 5 here. And that's a, if there's no sign in front of it, it means it's a plus 5, so a positive 5. So I'm going to go minus 6 equals 5. I'm going to leave some space for a moment, plus x, just because I want to put some stuff in there. If this is 5 here, that means plus 5, so that means the inverse operation to that is minus 5. So I'm going to put minus 5 there, put minus 5 there. So if I cross it, that's going to become 0. Basically, I can have x on the other side, so x equals minus 6 minus 5. That becomes minus 11. So let's look at these two equations here. Let's look at the first one on the side here. So first off, I'm going to get rid of that 1 and then I'll get rid of the 9 because I think the 1's the easy part to get rid of first. So let's do that. So if I've got plus 1 there, that means the inverse operation of that is negative 1. So let's write this out. Minus 9x, oops, 9x plus 1. I'm going to put minus 1 there because that's the inverse operation, as I said, equals minus 80. And then we're going to go minus 1. That's going to give us minus 9x. That cancels out. Minus 80 minus 1 is minus 81. And therefore, I'm going to go, now my next step is to get rid of that 9. That divide, so that's multiplied by 9, so I'm going to divide. So let's write that out again. I'm going minus 9x equals minus 81. And then I'm going to go divide by 9 on both sides, because that's the inverse operation, divide by 9. What we get is that becomes 1, so I'm going to put x minus 81 divided by minus 9. So if I've got a minus divided by a minus, that means that being giving me a positive number. So my answer is going to be positive. Then I'm going to go 81 divided by 9 is equal to 9. Let's look at this question 10 here. So my first step is to get rid of this one because that's the first part that's sort of, like I said in previous videos, it's a little bit further away from the end. It's not, so that's the one you want to remove first. So let's do that. So that's going to be the inverse operation to that is plus 10. So let's start that off. So I'm going to go minus 6. I'm going to leave a bit of space. N over 2 minus 10. So my inverse operation to that is plus 10. So that means my inverse operation on the other side is plus 10 because remember I'm balancing both sides. That means that cancels out. So I've left with n divided by 2. And now I've got on this side, I've got minus 6 plus 10. So it's basically like saying 10 minus 6. I can say that is like 10 minus 6. And so that means my answer here is going to be 4. So now I've got to get rid of this divide by 2 part. That's this bit here. So my inverse operation is multiply. So let's write this out. So I'm going to go 4 equals n over 2. So that means I've multiplied by 2. I'm going to multiply by 2 on that side. And what happens is I can cancel that out, equals to n. 4 times 2 equals to 8. So question 11. So first off here, what we're going to get rid of is that 2. So if that's a plus, remember no sign in front means it's plus 2. So mean my inverse operation here is going to be negative 2. So let's write this out. I'm going to go minus 2. Let me put that, I'm going to leave a bit of space and go v divided by 4. Just trying different colors here. If it's plus 2 here, that means my inverse operation is minus 2. So that means minus 2 on that side. That means those two cancel out. So I'm left with v over 4. Minus 2 is going to be minus 4. So if I start with minus 2 and subtract another 2, I become minus 4. Now, the next bit, remember, I want to get v by itself. So in this case, the inverse operation is going to be multiply by 4. So let's write that v over 4 minus 4. I can go multiply by 4, multiply by 4. And that means I can cancel that out. I'm left with v. Minus 4 times 4 is going to be minus 16. Let's look at this one. So in this question here, I've got the n plus 5 and then the divide by minus 16. So first part is I'm going to get rid of that, okay? Because that's the part I can get rid of before I look at the n plus 5 stuff. So that means my inverse operation to that is going to be multiplied by 16, so positive 16. So let's write this out. So I'm going to go n plus 5 over minus 16 equals minus 1. So, oops, let me give myself a bit more space, equals, oops, get more space again, equals minus 1. So then I'm going to go, so for this part here is divide by minus 16, so I need to multiply by minus 16. That means those two are going to cancel out. But it means I'm going to multiply this side as well by minus 16. So I'm going to be left with n plus 5 equals minus 1 times minus 16. We know that if we multiply two negatives, our responding answer is going to be a positive. Then it's going to be 1 times 16, so my answer is going to be 16 there. And then we're going to write out n plus 5 equals 16. Then I'm going to go, so my inverse operation of the plus 5 is minus 5. Let's do that to both sides. So that means I get left with is n equals 16 minus 5, and the answer is going to be 11. So let's look at this question here. So this is question 18. And now in this case, what we're going to get is, I need to remove this one first. So that's my first step. So I'm going to be adding 10 to both sides. So let's write minus 10 equals minus 10 plus 7m. Now, inverse, oops, I didn't leave enough space there, plus 7m. So we've said that inverse operation to minus 10 is plus 10. So I'll do that to both sides. That means I get 0 there. Oops, just going to keep what I've been doing consistent, equals 0 plus 7m. Minus 10 plus 10 is 0. So the answer is going to be 0 equals 7m. And we know from a previous example that if I divide 0 by a number, I still get 0. So 0 equals m. So m is going to be equal to 0. All right, second last one. And then, so let's have a look. So let's start off. So what's in the bracket is still the close part. So I want to get rid of this part first. Remember, that's essentially going 10 times whatever is in the bracket. So that means if it's 10 times, it means I need to divide by 10. All right, so let's do that. I'm going to write this out again. Minus 10 equals 10 k minus 9. Okay, that means I'm going to divide by 10, because remember, I'm doing an inverse operation. That means I'm going to divide by 10. That means I'm going to get left with minus 10 divided by 10 is going to be minus 1, because 10 divided by 10 will give you 1. and we're dividing a negative by a positive, it means I'm going to end up with a negative answer. That cancels out there, and that leaves me with k minus 9. Now, if I go minus 1 equals, let me give me some bit more space here, minus 1 equals k minus 9. What I've got is minus 9, so my inverse operation of that is plus 9, so that means plus 9 over here. So that means that cancels out, and I get left with k equals minus 1 plus 9 is going to be equal to 8. Okay, and our last one. So our last one, we want to remove this part first, because remember, that's the way I look at it, it's a bit further away. It's not as close to that, that number we want, so that pro-numeral. So in this case, we're going to do the inverse operation. So remember, if it's just an 8, it means it's plus. That's the inverse operation is going to be negative 8. So let's write that out. So I'm going to write 8 equals, oops, forgot about, oh yeah, I'm going to leave some space there. B over negative 4 equals 5. And so, yeah, let's pick this green. If my first operation is to get rid of 8, I need to go minus 8, cancels that out. Then I go minus 8 on that side. So what that leaves us with is B equals, B over negative 4 equals 5 minus 8 is going to be minus 3. Okay, and now I need to get rid of that minus 4 here. So if I need to get rid of that minus 4, it's a divide by minus 4 there, so I need to multiply it. So let's do that. B over minus 4 equals minus 3. That means I need to go times by minus 4. That cancels those two out. That means I want to multiply that by minus 4. And that leaves me with B equals minus 3 times minus 4. So remember, multiplying two negatives will give you a positive number. But if I do 3 times 4, I get 12. So my answer is going to be B equals 12.